Any other celebrities you'd love to spear the soul out of?
I believe Travis Scott, I believe we owe him one, don't we?
Yes, we do now. Yeah.
So whenever he decides to come back, he probably won't now that I've said something.
I'm a champion!
Welcome to Gorilla Position Beyond the Ring. We are sponsored by WWE 2K25. Players in the game can step outside the ropes and onto the island for the first time ever. If you never stepped through the ropes in the first place, what arena would you be ruling in? And don't say football, because I feel like that's an obvious answer.
Yeah. I mean...
Criminal justice?
That was my...
Did you study that?
That's what I studied in college. Maybe like Department of Natural Resources.
Okay.
It's something that I always took interest in, I guess, growing up, because I'm a big fisherman and I'm always out on the water. So yeah, maybe something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, game warden maybe.
What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Freshwater is probably like 7.5 pounds, and then saltwater, a couple 100 pounds. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't realize you were a fisherman.
Yeah, big time.
Love that. Now, congratulations, first of all. What an incredible run you are having on the main roster. Quite often the highlight of the night when it comes to your matches or segments on TV. How has the transition been from NXT to Monday Night Raw? And are there any elements of that transition that you found difficult to adapt to?
No, not really. I think it's been pretty smooth transition, because NXT sort of does a great job of setting you up for the main roster, and not especially back when I was down in NXT, we weren't on the road, so it didn't really set you up for that as much. But that's just something you just the boys and everyone will help you out with along the way and just get you caught up. So yeah, it's been fairly smooth, man. I've enjoyed it thus far. I'm just excited to be here and just continue to go forward.
And do you like the traveling aspect of the game?
I don't mind it. I don't. I definitely get to see a lot of cool places and go a lot of cool places like here. And
yeah,
it's crazy to think sometimes like I would have never been to some of these places, like especially across the world that I've been to, just because I'm WWE superstar, and it's kind of wild.
Yeah. Now you've had some wild matches on TV, both like weekly TV and PLEs as well. What's been a highlight for you? Any matches you're particularly proud of at this very early stage of your career?
I think Sheamus and I did a great job together. Every one of those was pretty solid.
You, Sheamus, and Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah.
At Survivor Series was phenomenal.
That was fun. Working with Ilya is always really fun.
Yeah.
He's going through a little knee deal right now, but I'm sure he'll be back pretty soon. But look forward to working with him again. It's always a great time. And obviously tonight I'm excited to work with Finn, because this will be the first time I've ever worked with Finn Balor, and I grew up watching him, especially when he first started in WWE. So this is this will be a cool moment for me too.
Yeah. And are you a big one for watching matches back? Like, are there any aspects of your performance that you feel needs work still? And I ask that just because I can't remember seeing anyone make a smoother transition onto the main roster than you. Like, you seem to just have everything down.
I do watch my stuff back pretty critically, just because I think it's really important for progression, especially as being a young person in this. You sort of have to be like really critical of yourself if you want to grow and want to move forward. So it's just part of it, man. If I want to be as good as I think that I can be and go to the places that I want to go, I have to go the extra mile and do the things that nobody else is doing. So being critical of myself is one of those things.
Yeah. And it goes without saying, you're obviously an incredible athlete, but in WWE, wrestling is not enough, because it's all about stories and episodic television, especially in the new Netflix era. Do you think about the creative work behind the sort of development of your character? Is that kind of stuff important to you?
Yeah, that's sort of, right now that's like most important, really, in my opinion, because the match itself, if you don't have a story, is not going to draw money. The story is going to draw money. So, I haven't really been put in a situation where like there's a legitimate like a long-term story, sort of like the Bloodline or the Judgment Day or something of that magnitude. So I haven't been put in that scenario yet, but I feel like, when given the opportunity in the future, I think I'll be able to really open some eyes with some of the capabilities that I have in storytelling.
Yeah. And you talked about like where you see yourself going, where you want to go. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that you are a future world champion. Bron Breakker is a future WrestleMania main eventer. But do those expectations that people have of you, does that put a lot of pressure on you? Or is that pressure quite a positive thing in your mind?
I don't really like pay attention to much of that. I'm very honest with myself, and I don't believe the hype or read my own newspaper clippings per se or any of that. I just, I'm just used to it. I'm used to being locked in and focused on the future.
But you must know inside, like, I've got this down. I'm good at this. You must be able to tell that.
I'm never going to say that I'm good at this, because I just feel like that's just so. Yeah, that's just. I don't know unless you're like Roman Reigns or Seth. I don't know if anyone's saying that. You don't want to be arrogant. Yeah, I just don't. I'm not gonna say that unless where I am character wise, if I'm like a full clear cut heel and my job is to be one way or another, then I could obviously do that. But being me, I just would never say that to somebody.
Yeah, fair enough. So in 2K25, the unified My Rise in the game allows you to take control of superstars as they infiltrate NXT to take control of WWE, proving that NXT really is shaping the future of the industry. Thinking about the up-and-coming talents in NXT and shows like WWE Evolve and the new LFG series as well, if you could tell yourself something 5 years ago about breaking into the industry, what would it be, given what you know now? What advice would you give your younger self?
I don't know if I would do much different, just because I had great advice already coming in from my dad and my uncle. So I didn't really have, it wouldn't change anything, because I feel like I did it the right way. I made the most out of my time down there in NXT and just used all the resources and everything. So it was, I don't think I would change anything for sure.
What did you make of John Cena's heel turn? And do moments like that kind of make you feel like a fan again, as well as a WWE superstar?
Yeah. That's just something I thought we'd never see, Everybody's shocked by it. It's one of those moments that'll be remembered forever.
And you must be chomping in the bit to wrestle John Cena. Like, has there been any talk of Bron Breakker versus Cena in 2025?
No, not to my knowledge. I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know if it'll happen. I have no idea.
iShowspeed, talk to me. That we all saw that spear. In fact, the world, it seems, saw that spear. Did you have any kind of conversation with Speed backstage about what to expect? And also, it must be great knowing that the company wanted to give you that moment that they knew would be seen by so many people. I think,
him and I we had multiple conversations throughout the day. We told him exactly what was, coming and this and that. So he was well aware. Obviously he didn't know who I was, and I've never met him before either. So he's never seen me run or, do anything. So he probably just thought it was just like anybody else. Like, oh yeah, I got it. So
yeah.
Obviously he didn't. So.
And how was he backstage after the Rumble?
He was great. He was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he was all good. I think he was streaming a couple of days later anyway, so he was A-okay.
But to your point earlier about sort of not wanting to talk about how good you are, surely being given moments like that where WWE knows the exposure is going to be so huge, putting you in that moment must give you that sort of level of confidence.
Yeah, that was definitely a cool moment to have, or cool opportunity to be presented with. Something I knew that I had to make the most of, or else something like that's not going to land in my lap ever again, especially if it's a first-time thing and then I screw it up or whatever. So I think it was a great starting point for moments for me. So many more to come.
Any other celebrities you'd love to spear the soul out of?
I believe Travis Scott. I believe we owe him one, don't we?
Yes, we do now. Yeah.
So whenever he decides to come back, he probably won't now that I've said something. So
the receipt for that burst eardrum?
Yeah, he'll get it.
Okay, nice. I like that challenge. You've previously described Goldberg as a bit of a kind of extension of your family almost. You have a Goldberg tattoo on your arm?
No, it's not his.
It's similar though, right?
A little bit.
Inspired by him?
Well, I got to the shop and it was like half of this. And then I was 17 years old, so this is obviously not probably the right time to be getting a tattoo in life. So I don't recommend doing that. But yeah, it was like half of this, and then I had the guy do some tweaks to it and then, twist it around, flip it, and ended up with this. It was just a 17-year-old mistake.
But you're close to Goldberg. He's talked about a retirement match this summer. Surely it has to be spear versus spear. That is the retirement match for Goldberg against Bron Breakker, surely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's...
is this a conversation you've had?
No.
Really?
I mean, last I saw, he did something with Gunther.
Yeah.
I think in Atlanta. So I'm going to assume that's going to be his retirement opponent if I was to...
I think I'd be more invested in Bron Breakker versus Goldberg. I have to be honest. Speaking of dream matches, 2K25 has a roster for the ages. If you could book a dream scenario for yourself, so opponent, PLE, city, and match stipulation, what are you booking? What is your wildest dreams scenario for yourself?
Roman Reigns in probably Dallas, Texas, WrestleMania in the main event. I feel like he'd be the champion. I'd be the challenger. I don't know, maybe no holds barred.
Oh, okay. Getting nasty.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, we can play that in the game. And I hope that happens for you.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will. Bron Breakker, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really good to meet you.
I'm a champion!